folks in your business. They see you trying to make it, trying to find a way up better living.
Hello, this is Edward Lee, aka Listing Lee with Talk to Him TV. About to get right to it.
Just want you feel like you ain't really nobody.
So what's going on? We right here with my boy Lee. So what's going on, Lee? I mean, you can go ahead and introduce yourself. Tell the people. I mean, you already introduced yourself, but tell the people like what you do.
Okay, I'm here in Orlando. I'm a realtor. Actually with La Rosa Realty. Been here for actually had my license since 2013. Started off doing timeshare and eventually transferred over to residential and helping families with buying and purchasing homes and helping investors.
Okay. So, I mean, like, with real estate, you know, even I checked out our website and stuff like that. Like, explain the difference between buying commercial and residential.
Yeah, commercial is more set up for businesses, you know, with let's say a gas station or stuff like that. It's more set up for business purposes. Residential, of course, for primarily single-family residents, families, things of that nature.
So which you being a real estate agent, which one be harder? Because, you know, you got a lot of people that want to get into real estate. It don't matter if it's residential business or, you know what I'm saying? It's just, which one will be more convenient, more easier?
Well, to me, what I did is I started off with just the residential, helping families. Start off with that, just kind of find your niche. With commercial, it's a little bit of a different approach because you're really working with people establishing businesses. So it's just really what type of people you want to help. What made me get into it was when I purchased my home. The feeling of home ownership is something I wanted to be able to help other people have. So when I was getting licensed, I was thinking of, you know, I want to be able to help people get ownership and be able to have something so they can pass from generation to generation.
Right.
So that was a part that made me want to be able to help people like ourselves be able to get into home ownership, because a lot of people they don't really look at it that way. They cool with renting until someone exposes them about the benefits of ownership and how it becomes, how it can help start generational wealth.
So how long you been in real estate?
Since 2013.
2013,
Yeah.
so that is 8 years?
Yes.
All right, so you were just saying a lot of people don't know about the benefits of home ownership. Explain that, how you feel about what's the difference between ownership and rent.
Okay, you make a great point. Having a place to stay is not one of these optional things in life. It's just how you set up that place to stay, whether you set it up on a lease or whether you set it up with a mortgage. Now the benefits are down the line, because at the end of the day, whether it's a pandemic, whether good employment, bad employment, you still getting by. You still, you know, making sure you pay your mortgage or your rent. Difference is down the line when the inflation kick in, where the property value has gone up, you didn't pay the loan down.
Yeah,
that's what the equity is. That's what the like. Let's say when you decide to sell your house, you don't sell it for what you bought it for. You sell it for what the current market is worth. So then at that point, that's where, let's say mama been working hard all her life. The benefit of mama working hard all her life is she's been paying that loan down. So if something ever happened to mama, the family can sell the house, use the house.
Yeah.
They got different options. But if you leasing, when that lease is up, you out of there. You don't have options. You can't benefit from all the money and all the hard work that y'all put into that house.
So, but like you just said, though, like it's all about, like you said, if you're gonna sell your house, it's like the property value. So, like buying a house is like the stock market. Then, like, 'cause you gotta think about it. If you buy a house in a good neighborhood, and then 10 years later it transfers to a bad neighborhood, your house value will go down, right?
But at the end of the day, you still need a place to stay.
No, I understand. I'm just asking the question though. The price of your house will go down, right? So I'm just saying it's a strategy to picking a house and buying a house and selling the houses and everything.
Well, see, if you look at it, a lot of times, like when I bought my house, it was 10 years ago. Property values were extremely different 10 years ago. Now that same house, if you were to buy in that neighborhood, you would spend $280,000. I just sold a house in my neighborhood that was $280,000. When I purchased in my neighborhood in 2011, I bought in that neighborhood for $80,000. So if I was to sell my house today, I would be selling it at the $280,000 mark, and I don't owe that on a house. So all that in between would go to me.
Right.
And that's what people, let's say somebody would have been renting during that same time, they ain't walking away with nothing.
Nothing.
Yeah. So that's what people benefit from, because it's like rent versus own. You know, at the end of the day, if you need a place to stay, it's just how you invest that money monthly and how you can get it to come back. And that's why I believe in the ownership. The product I'm helping people get benefits families.
Okay, so when you're going to talk about buying a home, all right, and so explain the difference, because I mean, even me, I ain't no real estate agent, I don't know a lot, but explain the difference between buying that home and buying that land, because you know a lot of people just they'll buy the house, but you know it's a big difference from buying land and then buying a home.
Yeah, well, really buying a home is just already set up. There's nothing to go do with finding people to build a house on top of that. So it's, especially for families, they don't have time to go through all that. Being able to get with an agent, it's really depend on what your needs are. Because some investors would be able to buy it and create a spread, and they sell it for more money. That's how they make their money. But let's say if it's a family that's looking to get started, they don't want to buy a lot and build. They ready to go and get their life started. They want something that's turnkey ready.
Okay, so I mean, so that's what I'm saying. So if you buy a house, you automatically own the land.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Unless you're buying like a trailer where they rent the land, but majority of the time.
So the people that buy the lots, that's the people that got like a vision for their home, the way they want it, or
Majority of the time.
What's the difference between just what's the benefits? Not the difference. What's the benefits of just buying the land or to buying the house?
Yeah, let's say if somebody wants to have something to build, they would go and find someone to build it. A lot of times that's why they would go with these communities, because if they wanted a new construction or if they wanted a custom build, they would get a builder to build a certain type of house. Those are rare situations. Majority of the times people they go get a loan and they go buy a house like a FHA, a conventional loan. They go get with the lender, and then I would go help them find a house that fits the budget.
Okay.
So, then they move on in.
Okay, so then we have a lot of people that would think that like the real estate market is like a tough market to be in, far as like not like to be in. I'm sorry, I'll rephrase that. To invest in, because you got a lot, like you just said, you got a lot of people that feel most safe over renting. And that's the fear of like, cause they see how much a house costs. You ride down the street, you see a big sign say house is starting at 200,000.
Yeah.
You just automatically think I can't afford that. So
you got to look at it on a monthly standpoint. Like I was telling you, I like to look at it. And when I worked at Westgate, they taught me this thing called rent versus own. Is how we used to talk to the owners. Do you want to rent your vacation or own your vacation?
Right.
Right. And what I did when I'm talking with people, especially people who don't own, I'm like, okay. So if I could show you how to spend the same money that you spend in monthly and put it toward the mortgage, would you consider doing that? I'm not asking you to change how you living, just trying to show you how to spend it differently so you can get something out of it. So that way, let's say 5 years from now, let's say you got to look at it from a number standpoint, and I just have to use a calculator to break the numbers down. So I'm gonna just go ahead and pull out my phone so we can just break the numbers down. I call this the pencil pitch. So this is how I'm gonna break it down. Let's look at the average family, 3-bedroom, 2-bath in the Orlando area. Would you say that's about what, $1,500 a month, depending on what area you live in, give or take?
I was about to say about 17.
17. Okay.
About 17.
Let's go with $1,700 a month. Let's look at it from a 1+1 standpoint. So if I'm renting a place at $1,700 a month, 1 year lease, and 1 year I spent $20,400. Now I'm gonna ask you a question. Is that a lot of money to you?
Yeah.
Okay, now let's look at a big picture standpoint. Let's look at if you had been doing that over a 5-year standpoint. Now, in 5 years, you spent over $102,000 with nothing to show, with a bunch of receipts with no value that you put into this property. Now, if I could show you how to spend it, let's say if I would have met you 5 years ago, and you would have been putting that into a mortgage. Now, of course, all that's not going to your principal balance, but that's going towards you and your family. So let's say let's say you spend $1,700, give or take. Let's say that's about $200,000 or so, right? You bought a house for $200,000 5 years ago, and then you've been paying the loan down. And then what happened? Just think about what just recently happened. All this housing shortage. Everybody's paying top dollar for a house, right? So if you decide to sell your house, you're gonna sell it for today's value and have people fighting in the front yard for your house.
Yeah.
And you get all of that in between. So you bought it. Let's say I had a client that bought a house a year ago, and we're looking at almost $100,000 increase in price point based on 1 year. Now imagine 5 years of that, right? Now, I'm not saying every year is going to have an increase like that, but if you decide to sell it, you selling it at today's market, and you've been paying it down. So now you take some of that money, put it up, and put down. You know, that's how people are creating wealth just off of the necessities of living. Right. So you was going to spend that same money. Now, if I just help you get a mortgage, and then let's say something changed, and you decide you want to do something different, you can rent that house out and let someone else pay it down even farther, or you can just decide to cash out. You got options now.
And so, how much you said that was in 5 years?
It was in 5 years. You was at $102,000.
Okay, 102. So
off $1,700 a month.
If that same house, if you wanted to purchase it, you know what I'm saying, just so people can understand it more, like how much
how would the hell work down? Okay, so typically, let's say we're going to use the example of a $200,000 house. Mm-hmm. All right, let's say you got approved for an FHA loan, which is 3.5% down. Mm-hmm. Right. So you're going to take 200,000 times 200,000 times 3.5%, which is $7,000. That's your part. Now you also have your closing costs, which I typically average that at 3%. So that's another 6,000. Mm-hmm. So you got 200,000 times 0.03. Which is another 6, so $13,000 initial investment on getting that property. That's your down payment, closing costs. Now the closing costs, of course, are negotiable, but the down payment is something that you would need just to be able to get the loan. So give or take, you need $13,000 to be able to purchase a $200,000 home.
Okay then. But then a lot of people get loans for that though, right? Like you said.
Well, that's the savings. So let's say the bank wants you to have something to go a part of the purchase. So that's what your 3.5% down payment is. I've been able to negotiate. I had one client I negotiated like $8,000, $10,000 in credits that helped them not have to pay the closing cost. Oh. So that way he's just getting in, paying his down payment. There you go. You in the house.
See that's what I'm saying. See, I ain't know a lot about real estate, but now you explaining it. I think it do make sense now though. Yeah. Cause I got all right. Let me pull my calculator out real quick. My mom been staying in her house for 21 years, and they pay $700 a month. So that's $700 times 12. My bad. Is $850. Mm-hmm. Hold on.
See, it just kind of comes back to...
That's 7, 8, hold on.
See, we weren't really being taught ownership. Mm-hmm. And I think that's one of those things that once I learned the value of it, I just wanted to shout it from the rooftop so everybody could see. Yeah, it's a lot of money.
So that's what I'm saying. So basically we were just talking about a $200,000 home, so you got to think about it.
She's already bought it.
She would have been owning that right now if she would have been...
She would have had a chance to pull money out. Let's say she wanted to go start a business. Now here's another option that people would really benefit. Let's say that you didn't put all this money into this house and the value didn't went up. Mm-hmm. You don't have to sell it to get the money out. You can go do a home equity loan, or you can just take the equity out the house. Let's say if you want to go, you believe in something, you want to go start a business, and you didn't, instead of selling the house, you just go get a loan on it. Mm-hmm. That's the benefits of ownership that the renting won't ever allow you to do. The owner would take it out and go do something and have you pay his mortgage down.
Okay then. Yeah. So it's a lot of perks to owning a house though. Because at the same time, a lot of people don't know this though. Because you got a lot of people that's like the apartment rate in Orlando right now is averaging about $1,500 a month for a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom. That's for apartment.
Yeah, that's why we got to get out and just educate people so that way they don't understand the benefits of
a lot of people don't understand it, and then they think it's too technical. Then, like you said, you ride down the street, you see homes starting at $250. You thinking I ain't got $250,000, and then it come into play while we still talking about the buyers while we still on this side. It'd be like, what about like people that feel like they got bad credit, or they feel like that they not gonna get approved, or you know what I'm saying?
Well, see, that's where we got to have a starting point. When I was trying to start my process, my credit was in the 5s. and my mom called me and was telling me about, hey, this lady got some free money and bought a home, and I was like, what I got to do?
Yeah.
And then I found out the steps. There's only 3 things you really need to be able to buy a home. You need a job, you need a credit score of a 580 and up, 640 just to be able to get the government the free money.
Yeah.
The government, where they'll help you get down payment assistance. So, and then money to be able to pay your down payment.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of it's not that complicated. 3 things.
Right.
Credit score 580 get you in the door, 640 get you additional assistance. You need a job.
Yeah, you got that.
You need to be able to and then have some money for your down payment, credit score. So once you have these things, it's more like, okay, starting that. Okay, where you at? And then putting some attention on things that whatever need. I have whoever the specialist is with credit. Like I know the people I use are Help CDC. It's a nonprofit organization in Eatonville. Mm-hmm. They sat down with me. They went over how credit works. They helped me establish credit. I've been able to maintain since then, and that was over 10 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
So credit is not really a big issue. Then it's just basically just starting the process. Then.
Yeah. Because we got people that if you do need assistance with credit, like let's say the lender, depending on what level of how your credit is, mm-hmm. it could be a quick fix. It could be like, hey, let's have a plan. I mean, it's all about having a plan, especially right. for people who have kids. Because if you watch them kids grow up, that's you got to look at that. That's like the mm-hmm. years of the hard work I can pay off. The kids could benefit from that. Mm-hmm. Somebody in the family could benefit from all the hard work.
Oh, of course. Yeah. All right, but we spoke about the buyers. Let me jump into the other side, which is like the agent part, mm-hmm. because a lot of fears. Like one of my fears, I just speak on my own personal experience that had with like dealing with like trying to find a home and stuff like that. You have people that do a lot of fraud, so you got a lot of people that be nervous about dealing with certain people because of that. Mm-hmm. Because in every business it's a downside to it, where you got the scammers, you got the bad things can happen, you got the money can get lost, or it's a lot of things. So
real estate's a process. Obviously the lender gets involved with the financing portion. So really, I'm a manager of the process. Mm-hmm. What I mean by that is starting from a vision of, hey, I want to be able to buy a home to be able to get you the keys at the closing table. Mm-hmm. Like you said earlier, sometimes people aren't in position. My job is really taken from an idea of, hey, I want to become a homeowner, mm-hmm. to make it become a reality by having conversations. The good thing is having that conversation to say, okay, I want to become a homeowner, or where we at, how the 3 things I talked to you about, how's your credit, how's your savings, how you got a job. Mm-hmm. Then at that point, I have you talk with a finance person. Finance person is going to go over all the details of what you were talking about earlier. Mm-hmm. So then at that point, you'll know what your monthly payment is. You know what your down payment, you'll know what your closing costs. Mm-hmm. So then at that point, if you need to save, you'll have a actual amount. Like we talked about that $200,000 house. $13,000 is where you need to be without any help.
Yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. So then throughout the year, you can actually budget that. So you don't have to lump sum it. You can, throughout the months, you can put up 500, 300. So that way you can get to that number. So then, before that next lease expires, we got a plan. We started executing, so that way we can make it at last. What was that, 13.4 or whatever it was? Yeah. It was some crazy number every year. So we just trying to kind of trying to stop the bleed.
So how long the process is? What's the shortest process it could be on buying a house, and what's the longest?
It really depends on where you are. If you have the savings, if you have the credit score, there's nothing to wait for. It's just finding it. Once you get pre-approved with your finance person, then at that point it's just about me and you finding the house that you want to call home. Once we find you a home, it takes about 45 days for the loan, 30 to 45 days for the loan to be able to be processed. Mm-hmm. During that time, we're going to have, once we find it, we're going to have an inspection to make sure everything's good with the home. And then from that point, you have your appraisal done. And then from that point, you're pretty much getting your clear to close. Once the value is there, the bank gives, give you the loan for the house. Title, basically, you sign all the paperwork and you get your keys. And then your loan starts about probably 2 months later.
Okay. So that's not really a long process though. I mean, depending on, like you said, where you at with it.
Yeah.
So if you dealing with somebody that got bad credit, like, you know what I'm saying, they just not
With some
like,
challenges.
yeah. Like, what's the longest? Well, let me
It
ask you,
depends on what those challenges are.
Yeah, what's the longest it took for you to get somebody that wasn't set through the process of buying a home?
It depends on their focus. If they put all their attention on the getting rid of
No, I'm saying from experience though. Like, what's the longest it took for you?
I mean, it took. Let me speak for myself. When I was going through the process, it took about 8-9 months for them to do the things that what I did is I did a secured loan with my bank, so it recorded to all the credit bureaus. See, once you sit down with someone who understands and knows how to work credit, they'll teach you how to do that, and then they'll do their part. You do what you have to do. Then time does this thing, and then it has a chance to reflect on your credit score. Once your credit gets to a certain point, you're good. You know, once you get to those thresholds of credit, you're good.
All right, and then I mean, let's update about because you know, with every business out there, there's always a good side and a bad side. When I say that, like, you could be one of the real estate agents that's, like you say, you're trying to, you got the passion from you buying your first home, so it made you want to give other people that same feeling. But what about the real estate agents that's in the game just for the money? So they don't care how they getting you through there. And you know what I'm saying? Because sometimes the real estate agent can say they just want the money, they get you through the cracks, but then the cracks come back and leak later and leave you with a headache because of something that the agent.
Yeah, well, there's certain things, like let's say if you have concerns about the house, or additional warranties, like a home warranty can kind of put a peace of mind on it. Look, things happen with houses, pipes bust. It's just more about being resourceful and a plan, like having contractors that can do it, giving good information so that way they can know what to do to protect themselves when it comes down to
I'm saying, like, how could somebody, if they in the stages of buying a house, how could they decipher, like, you know what I'm saying, like, what's a good agent, what's a bad agent? Like, cause you know, that's just a circle of life though. You always gonna have good and bad. You gonna have them agents they just trying to get paid, and then you got them agents that really enjoy seeing their clients with that smile. So that's what I'm saying. Like, how could people protect themselves from dealing with a bad agent and end up, you know what I'm saying, in a bad situation later on down the line?
I think it's just more finding a style matching, understanding, because sometimes people have different scenarios. And you got to just kind of. What I do is I accommodate my clients. I don't. I accommodate my schedule around their needs and their situation. So when it comes down to showing property, it's not about my availability. It's about when can you go get out in the field, because I'm gonna make myself available when you need to go out. Because sometimes they work odd hours, so I have to show property in odd hours. So it's more of me. What I do to accommodate my clients is accommodate their needs individually. It's no a blanket way of managing clients. I was just dealing with a client that I'm making an adjustment on, that she wants to be tailored and handled differently. She wants me to look through the properties, only send properties that she needs to go see. Some people pick their own. So it's more about a good agent will adjust to his clients, and others will make the clients adjust to his style. So if it works for you, at the end of the day, the client is the boss of the transaction. They can hire and fire agents. So the way I try and keep my job is give them additional value, adjusting to them. Again, I'm trying to do all my negotiations, but realistic at the same time. I think once you have a good consultation of, hey, this is how this is going to work, setting expectations, I think that's a good idea of if this is an agent for you.
All right, and then you all right. You know, like, we live into like this new day and age now, where a lot of people, they get their ideas and they info, period, just a lot of stuff from the internet, from Google to Facebook to just social media, period. So like in your words, like, what's your perspective on the way that you got these housing TV shows like Flip My House and all these places like that? Like, how do you think they affect the housing market for like real estate agents like you that's really out here in the field and that's really, you know what I'm saying? Like, how do you think
that's TV? This is a relationship.
So because that's what I'm saying. You got a lot of people that watch that, and then you get a lot of people that go to these classes and think that, oh, I'm gonna flip me a house. They think it's just like, so you know what I'm saying? Like, do you think that the TV shows is misleading, or do you think they perfect?
I think every market's different, and I think that's why this is a relationship business. Whether it's investor, first time buyer, just like you would sit down with your doctor and talk about everything wrong with you, the same way you would talk to me about all your real estate aspirations, dreams, and what you're trying to do, short-term goals, long-term goals, because because of me working with so many different groups of people, there may be other avenues, paths, or other ways to help get you to that point with less resistance. And those are things that specialists know. So that's why it's good to have good sit-downs, have good understanding, good relationships where people feel that, hey, let me talk to you, and it's okay to change your mind. Just put it out there now, and I can give you some things to think about, and you don't have to make decisions at that moment. We can have conversations that last for weeks, and you don't ever have to make a move on it. You just getting good information to make good decisions on it. And that's why I think it's just taking time out to get good information. You can make good decisions, because an investor, they need to understand what they're getting into. And then by me asking questions, are you looking to buy and hold? Just maybe giving you some things to think about that you weren't thinking about going in, based on my experience of working with investors. Same thing with my buyers. So that's why I say getting with somebody who has a good experience, passion for it, is good. It's good for the client.
Yeah, but on them TV shows, I done watched them a couple times. You know what I'm saying? Like them TV shows, they make it look so easy though.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like flip my house and all. And then that's what I'm trying to say. All right, describe what's the difference, because flipping my house and the way you sell houses, y'all both real estate agents, but it's two different type of real estate agents, and they don't have different names for those.
Well, okay, let's say different type of clients. You're talking more of an investor, because that would be more of my investor type client. So they look at real estate a little different from the first time buyer. So it's a different approach to helping an investor, because all he cares about is his bottom line. But my client, they're looking at this like, this is where I'm gonna live, this and that. So it's a different approach. The way I help my investor is a different. That's why that good consultation comes into play, of sitting down and understanding what my client's needs are, so I can appeal to his needs as best as possible, or give him information that helps him make the best decision.
Okay then. So basically, you feel like that Flip My House and that type of show is designed and made for investors. It's not for people that, because I just thought about it, like the way you watch the show, they usually call the real estate agent to show the house and stuff towards the end. So you know what I'm saying? But you got a lot of people that try to go jump into the real estate market from these TV shows. No different than like the Storage Wars and stuff like that. It made people want to get up and go. And so you know what I'm saying? And when they watch them TV shows, they don't go and call themselves an investor. They go and say, I'm a real estate agent. But they try to flip houses. So like, you know what I'm saying? That's a different business.
Well, see, that goes back to a good realtor. A good realtor would be like, hey, what are you looking to buy this house to do? Instead of just selling you a house that you just call me up and say, I want to buy this house. I wouldn't just put a contract in. I would take time to understand, like, hey, just so I can, best help you. Might be some better inventory out there you might be looking for. Tell me a little bit about what your needs are, what you're looking to use it for, because then I might be able to give you a better idea on how to spend your money and get you more for your money. Okay.
So, I mean, with the money part, okay, so we talking about like people getting into real estate, want to be a real estate agent. Is it a good business financially, you think, like far as like the money you make? I mean, I ain't trying to ask you to tell us your pockets, but I'm saying like, do you know what I'm saying? Like, what's the money side like of like what they can make for like people
for relatives, for people who are looking to get in? I mean, this is one of those businesses that you make it what it is.
Yeah.
If you put a lot of work in, you perfect your craft, you could go work all day, every day, and you have a lot of business. Now, when you start doing business with people, like let's say you go buy somebody buying new construction, sometimes typically it's 3% that you'll get paid off of whatever they're buying, and that's what the agent makes off of that transaction. Now on the resales, it depends on whatever the listing agent put out there, but typically let's say between 2.5, 3%. It could vary, and that's what an agent would get per transaction.
So how long do the agents wait to get their payment? Like, do they have to wait?
They get paid the way I have it set up is I get paid at closing.
So as soon as the house closes?
As soon as they get their keys, I get my check.
Oh, okay. Then. So I mean, is most real estate agents like that?
It depends on how they have it set up with a broker. Because the broker may, like with our office, we're 100%. The title company where we have it set up, they send him his transaction fee, and I get my check. Everybody's happy. They get their keys. I've serviced them. Because the buyers, the great thing about buyers is the agent, that the people who pay me is the people who are selling the house. So you're technically getting like a service that I'm getting paid from the people who you bought the house from.
Oh, okay. Then.
So it does nothing actually out of your pocket, and that's why it's a great thing for anyone who's buying to have the representation. It's just like having a lawyer in court, someone who can go and negotiate terms for you, such as closing costs, like the inspection, credits that you may get. Because I've been able, during a tough market, like when people are overpaying, I've gotten my last client almost $10,000 in credit when people are overpaying. So not only did I get him in the house, but I got him credits from the seller, averaging up to 10. And one before that, $8,000 credits. So when you pick an agent, all he do is throw your money at the problem. But when you get a good agent.
When you say credits, what do you mean by you getting them
credits?
Okay, credits. Because I
closing
want people to understand, yeah.
Closing costs. Let's say we went into this transaction, I want to say it was 205. But the seller didn't do anything, fix anything. So when I came back, I came asking for credits for my buyer to not have to pay. Since we got the inspection report, they didn't do a good job of upkeeping the house, so we need to address a few things for my buyer to be okay to move forward with this transaction. Okay, so now I'm looking at this. Okay, all right, man. So the list kind of long, so that credit's got to get bigger. All right, we're gonna go $10,000. So I negotiate with the other agent to get a seller to give us a credit of $10,000, and that's what my client was able to get. So now he didn't have to worry about paying his closing costs. So now the only thing he got to pay is his down payment, because I negotiated closing costs.
And so every agent can't do that though.
Some agents don't have the necessary negotiation skill or have the know-how how to do it. That's where it comes with experience, with picking an agent that, I could go print out the MLS sheets that show you the credits I've been able to get people, that, the other agents putting in that I was able to get from my clients. And whether it's extensions, a good negotiator keeps people under contract and get that transaction closed.
All right, and so what you saying, you in the Orlando market, so like before I get into my question, because I just want to ask you about other agents, but like describe the Orlando market with real estate, like how you feel about it.
Orlando market is a thriving market. Inventory is very limited. So working with buyers in this market is very, very tough because they're competing with a lot of other people who are qualified. Inventory is very limited, so people who are looking to sell their home they're getting sold quickly and they're getting top dollar.
Yeah, because there's not a lot of people trying to leave Florida. There's a lot of people trying to get here.
Yeah, very limited inventory, so they're getting more on the outskirts. Kissimmee, Poinciana, Lake County.
So when you get to saying, like you just said, it's a lot of it's limited. So do that create like some type of like competition between real estate agents, like to where like
we everybody trying to eat, but I think it's enough money to go around, and it's enough clients, because your circle, your people that you deal with every day is different from the people I work with and deal with.
But like so that me, I like to know the inside. So do excuse me, do y'all have like those? Like, do y'all be having like those real estate like wars about like feuds between like what I'm saying, this agent, what I'm saying?
It's pretty friendly.
I mean, do it happen like that? I'm just asking because the person that sit there at home, what I'm saying, a lot of places that you go to get information about stuff, they tell you in like the professional terms. People don't understand that.
Yeah.
So they want the down thing, like what I'm saying, because you want to do agents battle for the same listing and stuff like that?
I mean, the ones that you may battle for might be the expired, because everybody might be reaching out to the same client. You just kind of want to make yourself stand out. One thing I might do differently is instead of calling everybody, I just go knock on the door, introduce myself, and
So you go find the person that's selling the house. The person that's selling the house don't find you.
Oh yeah. We look for the business. Prospecting for business.
So how do you know when somebody's selling their house?
Well, you could typically, I like to go out and talk to people about the community. That's typically how I find my situations, just by going out, meeting people in the communities, going door knocking out there. That's actually how I met a lot of my homes. I've actually had an opportunity to sell a lot of homes in my own particular neighborhood from just simply going out door knocking and introducing myself and creating relationships. And then some point, something happens in their life where I'm right there, kind of right around, always talking to them like about their situation, and then I get the opportunity to talk to them about transitioning them out the home, getting them got the house, money out the house, transition them to the other house. So it's
So most of your clients that sell their house move into another one?
absolutely.
So basically you get like a double whammy because you finna help them find a new house and then you finna help somebody to buy their house.
That's the best thing about listing. That's why I wanted to be listing lead. Is I wanted to be able to go and talk to people. That's really why I put it more of a focus on listing.
So how you getting people to what you are you telling them like they need something bigger?
Well, I give you an example. I would say, hey, my name is Edward Lee. I'm just a local realtor giving you a community update about what's going on in the neighborhood. So if I tell you that house just sold for $280 and your eyes light up like, oh, they got $280 for that? You might be interested in selling your house. So I'll be like, look, let me run some numbers, get you continuously pre-approved off of what if you were to sell your house, how your numbers would work, have those type of conversations. Now that conversation might drag on for a month, but you showed interest. I'm just gonna keep prolonging along, and all of a sudden I got a for sale sign in your house, and I'm helping you relocate.
They always sell the house before they move to the new one, right?
Oh, they need the proceeds.
But I'm saying you have that whole process for them. So you help them, you have all the process of them getting ready to move by selling their house, and then you handle the process of them getting into the new home.
Let me give you an example.
The process of the new family moving into the old home.
Let me give you an example. I had an opportunity to list this lady named Miss Tucker's house at the end of my block. She was using the proceeds from her home to buy the next home. She was going to use the cash from this one to buy the next one. So after we finally got her on the contract, then we start shopping for the other home because now we got a date on this one. So since she was buying cash, once we found something and negotiated the terms, I got them to close on this, negotiated closing them on the same date. So she didn't, and then got her time to move from one home to the next home. Didn't have to put her stuff in storage. That's the benefit of working with an agent on both sides, because once I list your home, I can manage, control that, and then also get you within that same time frame, can transition to the next home, managing all of the potential stress that you might be dealing with going with liquidating your home down. Like she was downsizing. She was coming from 3,400 staying by herself to, hey, I want a small in the cut and the berries, where she ended up moving. So we ended up finding we out. So once we got on the contract, our immediate focus became, okay, let's go find you something you want. And negotiating the terms, and then we end up finding that home. Everything worked out. We closed her at one. We got the money from over here, moved it over there. She turned in the keys over here, picked up keys over there, and we got her the weekend to transition from one home to the next.
I just think that's amazing. Getting people to move out there. Hey man, come on, I need y'all to move now. You just trying to get people out your neighborhood.
Well, what it was is it was inventory. No, what it was is just sometimes people need change.
No, you're right. Change is good sometimes.
Because what it was is when she bought the house, at that point her husband was alive. Different times in her life. Now she's at a different point. And it wasn't that the house wasn't a good house or the neighborhood was bad. It was just more of, I don't need all this house anymore. And, hey, why not cash out? The house didn't went up in value. I didn't buy it for this much. So now she's going to put some money up and pay off the next house just because she's downsizing. And we still have that relationship today. So that I go by, have some lunch with her because she where she want to be. When I'm on that side of town, I tend to stop by and say hello, see how things are going. See the new upgrade.
I was saying, you got the real estate agent out there seeing your house, you don't hear from them no more.
These are people who supported my family. They like family to me now because they gave me an opportunity. So it's like these are relationships I always.
Because you are dealing with them for a time period.
Yeah, I look at myself like a family realtor because that relationship just continues. It's just more like on pause to the next time I talk to you. Because let's say if something changes in your life again, you meet somebody and now you need more space. Hey, What we want to do with the property? We want to rent it out? What you want to do? Because you got more options.
So what do you think are the downside? What do you think are the bad things in real estate? Because like you said, your story is how you know what I'm saying, you started off from, you know what I'm saying, learning how to do real estate at a small, you know, just from you buying a house.
Yeah.
So how you feel about the people that's in the real estate business? Because obviously you have a passion for it.
Yeah.
Like you said, you can go to have lunch with your clients that you already made the money. You don't got to go do that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But how you feel about the ones that just got like maybe got a rich parent and they was able to buy 5-6 properties and they don't care, they just out here just flipping, I mean just basically just doing real estate. They ain't caring about the client before or after. They just
Well, I mean, I guess picking an agent is important. You know, I'm more trying to establish relationships than anything else because that relationship might not need me right now. But when it needs me, hopefully I can service my people because they already know what they're going to get from me. So, you know, that to answer that question, hopefully that kind of, you know, because some people will, some won't. I just keep moving, trying to grow, trying to get better as an agent, trying to learn from the ones that didn't go as well, trying to make the necessary adjustments to help my clients have the best experience possible when they ready to go through their process. Because everybody ain't going to need me at the same time.
all right, so like getting close to the end, like for the people that want to like get into real estate and stuff like that, like you know what I'm saying, like I mean I don't even know the process, but you can explain the process from
beginning to end,
just to get not to go all the way to and selling a property, just like getting your license,
getting in the door. Okay, it just comes from kind of talking with people, figuring out what we do day in and day out, and can you see yourself doing it? You know, just taking the steps to go get the license to go, and
How
then
long
I think
is
you go do a 40-hour course, plus you go do the fingerprinting. So that could be within a month or two. Just depends on how long it takes you to get through all that. I think the biggest step is taking time out to learn your craft. Our job is a little different because we're an independent contractor. So you're not going to be forced to go to training. But like, you know, when you go get a new job, typically they put you in training. A lot of realtors kind of skip training and want to go to the production floor without having the knowledge or understanding of how to do certain things at a good level or understand what they're doing for people. It's a lot going on when you're trying to uproot somebody from a house. It's a lot going on because this family might be homeless if you don't do your job right. It's a lot riding on that. So I think when I was coaching new agents, the one thing I didn't see is some of the things that would stop them from being as successful is taking time out to learn their craft, the scripts, the understanding of the emotion of it too. So the emotional thing, you know, you're talking about helping people do some things, you know, provide for their family type stuff. So it's a lot riding. I understand the importance of it. So that's why it's such an important thing and attention to detail of understanding all their needs, being able to foresee certain situations, because if it happens on my watch, I feel kind of responsible, you know. And you don't ever want to have a family not being able to capture their goal and not, you know, be kind of, you know, think about this. If you're about to uproot your family, go buy a house and something falls through, and then all of a sudden, what do?
Yeah.
That's the responsibility that I have of trying to take you from one point to the next point.
Okay. So I mean, real estate market is a big market. I think that's what I'm saying. It's still so much stuff that we ain't even cover. So you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, people wouldn't think that it's so technical. Even like I said, I learned a lot today too from the price and everything. Like I mean, it's just certain, like you be like I told you earlier. It's a lot of people that we don't ignore the knowledge. It's a lot of people just like we said, day life. They ain't got the time to even.
I think it's more education and training. Whether you want to get in. Just take time out that has pull people to the side and have conversations.
Yeah, it's definitely education on both sides, because like you said, like after you even get the process of owning that home, like you know what I'm saying, you can take loans out with your home. You can do this, you can do that. You can use the home in so many different ways, and that's what I'm saying. People don't know that. They just, you know what I'm saying, it ain't that they just nothing. They just don't know that, you know what I'm saying, me buying this home, I could be able to one day get some money.
It's about having that date started, because see, this is a lot of how people gain really real wealth, because that property value. You know, they needed a place to stay. You got to think about these families that they grew up. Now that should be family money. You know what I'm saying? Oh, y'all ain't using the house, don't sell it. Split the money up. Everybody get a chance to have something to move forward with. And that's really, I think, where the home ownership, because you got to look at the Orlando area. Some of these neighborhoods, when they was originally being sold, these houses are $10,000. Now they reselling for $200. And these families didn't grew up. So, and some of these people, the original mom and dad might be gone, but now the kids can split $200,000 on something that they gonna need growing up anyways.
Right.
So that's why I say we gotta almost kind of look at this is a necessity. We need the wealth. We can't let another year go by renting, knowing that we could be starting our clock on our wealth. And that's, at the end of the day, you make sure that the bills get paid, rain through the snow, whether it's a pandemic or not.
Yeah.
Right?
Got to.
At the end of the day, the prices went up during the pandemic, believe it or not.
They did. That's crazy though.
Yeah.
You would thought they would have dropped, but everything went up. The price of hotels, everything went up dramatically.
Yeah.
Because I stay in hotels a lot, but see, you know what? Buying a home to me, it seems like the same thing with vacation clubs. Like a lot of people travel and vacation, but a lot of people don't like timeshare, don't believe in it. But if you actually do the research up on timeshare, you save a lot of money by having one.
Yeah.
If you travel a lot, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And just like you said, like with a home, everybody needs somewhere to stay regardless, no matter if you renting or buying.
Yeah.
So you know what I'm saying? But with renting, it ain't no benefits.
No.
It's just receipts.
Just convenience.
Yeah, so you know what I'm saying? But the buying process is a lot more. So I mean, like, as we wrap it up, like, what kind of advice would you want to give to the people, as far as like the people that don't have the knowledge, or the people that you potential future clients, people that's thinking about buying a house, just people that's looking forward to real estate. No matter if they a person that want to be an agent, just
find somebody you're comfortable with and have the conversation. Go talk to someone that's in the game that can point you out to the benefits, or just go look at the financial numbers so that way you can see how this will work out for yourself. So that way you can look at it from a big picture. It's more chess, not checkers. Longevity investments instead of just a short-term gain. So that would be the advice I would give somebody that would be considering, hey, what do I do? Go have some conversation, educate yourself, so that way you can make good decisions for you and your family. Because you got to think, head of households got to make decisions that benefit the families for generations to come. And sometimes we have to be the trendsetters for the family, for everybody else to follow. So go get educated, make good decisions, and you'll be very thankful for the future. So that's what I would do.
You want you feel like you ain't real nobody. Mama told me stay down, yeah, you gon' be somebody. Keep your head up.